Tonight, the BC Assembly of First Nations has congratulated the BC NDP on their election victory, but wants to see action and work take place to achieve true reconciliation. Plus, Canada Post workers could be heading to the picket lines as early as Sunday if a deal between their union and Canada Post isn't reached. And the Spruce Kings show home for the 2024-25 season has been announced. Good evening and welcome to CKPG News. I'm Adam Burles. The BC Assembly of First Nations has formally congratulated the EB government for its election victory, but it comes with a list of demands. Regional Chief Terry Teegee says the goal now is to build on the work of the last 5 years with full expectations that the government will implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. But the issue of the Land Act arose once again for Premier-designate David Eby.
There will be a familiar face gracing the halls of the legislature this fall, and the BC Assembly of First Nations welcomes that. Regional Chief Terry Teegee says now is the time to build on the work done in recent years.
What we expect is continuation on work with what we've already done over the last 5-7 years. In particular, the full implementation and expression of the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which really affects all matters in First Nations, governance, and our ways that we make decisions and what have you in this province.
And as such, the BC AFN says it fully expects 3 things to be included in the next legislative calendar. 1, negotiations between the province and First Nations must resume as soon as the interregnum has concluded, with strong cross-ministry mandates that ensure the full application of the Declaration of Indigenous Peoples Act, and the call for changes to key pieces of legislation, including the Mineral Tenure Act, the Land Act, and the Environmental Assessment Act. 2, a full inquiry into the deaths of First Nations people at the hands of police must be launched. And 3, continued and ongoing support for First Nations pursuing financial independence through economic development must be secured. The BC AFN noted the Land Act is something that needs attention. Changes were introduced in January. They proposed giving First Nations more decision-making powers when it comes to public lands. But public backlash quickly had government putting those changes on hold.
The Land Act change, because it wasn't connected to any agreement, because it was disconnected from any specific initiative, it was open to the possibility of creating concern, which it did. It created huge anxiety in the business community and rural communities. What does it mean? What's it going to look like for us? And so there's a lesson in that for us.
But Teegee says that issue is not going away.
Many of the developments that occur within First Nations lands affect them. So we're certainly, First Nations have stated that we're not interested in private property, as stated by John Rustad, where there was a lot of fear-mongering, and this is one of the reasons why the NDP walked back in terms of the full implementation of UNDRIP and also amendments to the Land Act.
The BC AFN noted the Land Act is something that needs attention. Changes were introduced in January. They proposed giving First Nations more decision-making powers when it comes to public lands. But public backlash quickly had government putting those changes on hold.
Well, I'm not sure, depending on the person and the person's background. So I think, somebody that's knowledgeable within, I suppose, with Land Act or Mineral Tenure Act, has a strong forestry, natural resource background, or has experiences there, I think would be very helpful in terms of addressing many of these issues.
However, Eby assures there is a quote-unquote remarkable cohort of MLAs that can fill the role well. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
The Our Children, Our Way Society is waiting for the next steps after it rejected a final offer from the federal government. The society is citing a number of faults in the agreement and says it is too uncertain to move forward with it. Once again, Cheryl Jan reports.
The Carrier Secondary Family Services provides more than 40 services, everything from early child care services to the Highway of Tears Violence Prevention Support and Awareness Program. It is also one of 25 Indigenous child and family service agencies that is part of an umbrella organization called Our Children, Our Way.
So in 2006, we launched a court case against Canada for discriminating against First Nations children on reserve by failing to provide the funding to provide the full wraparound prevention services. There was money there to keep children in care, take children in care, but not money to prevent it. And so we took Canada to court, and in 2016, Canada was found to be discriminating against children, Indigenous children.
It is one of the agencies that has rejected the final agreement in the long-term reform of the First Nations Child Program.
There are so many flaws in the agreement, plus it's not protected. Under the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal orders, we're already going to be receiving $45 billion over 10 years estimated. And that's protected by the orders. So whatever government is in play or is in power, they have to follow the orders. This agreement is going to take away the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal oversight.
Mary Teegee says this agreement as presented doesn't make that guarantee. Instead, the 10-year agreement will be subject to annual parliamentary appropriation.
So this means that any government that comes into force will be able to either not follow the agreement, overturn the agreement, or just ignore the agreement altogether. So I think that leaves us in a precarious position for everything, all that we won through the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal, all of the money that we receive for prevention is in jeopardy.
Teegee represents BC on the First Nations Caring Society. She says attention to this province is sorely lacking.
British Columbia, we've only been receiving prevention dollars about 2018, 2019, and we're still building capacity. But this agreement is a one-size-all approach and would leave British Columbia really at receiving less and also not having the decision-making abilities.
Teegee says the chiefs from the Assembly of First Nations have to read the agreement, and if they do, from cover to cover, they'll reject it too. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Canada Post has presented its latest contract offer in labour negotiations with the Canadian Union of Postal Workers less than a week after the union received a strike mandate from workers. The latest proposal includes annual wage increases amounting to 11.5% over 4 years. The union announced last week that their members voted overwhelmingly in favor to support a strike deal if a deal cannot be reached. Workers would be in a legal position to strike as of 9:01 p.m. Pacific Time on November 3rd. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says the latest proposal falls short, but that negotiators are still going through the proposal. A resident of Mackenzie has 500,000 reasons to be happy. The BC Lottery Corporation says Marita Grattan won $500,000 after purchasing a winning Daily Grand ticket on October the 17th. She says she couldn't believe it, adding it's taken away all her stress while providing her with a sense of security. She plans to use some of her winnings to help her family, build a garage, and complete some home renovations. Marita bought the ticket at the lottery kiosk inside the Mackenzie Mall. Well, if you don't have any use for your jack-o'-lantern after Halloween, PG Tickled Pig Rescue is asking people to drop them off at their farm. Sam Benison has more on how to save your pumpkin from the landfill.
Halloween is here with jack-o'-lanterns sitting on a porch welcoming trick-or-treaters. But when the night is over, most end up in the bin. Tickled Pig Rescue is looking to change that by asking for all those lanterns to provide their rescues a delicious meal.
People are welcome to text us ahead of time if they would like to come out and meet the pigs. Otherwise, they're welcome just to pull up and drop them off at the front of the driveway.
If you can't make it down, they will also be doing a pumpkin pickup.
We will be collecting in the College Heights, Vanway, and Westgate areas. So we just ask that people text us their address, and then on November 1st, we'll start about noon. And we will be out collecting them until we're done.
All they ask is for you to ensure your pumpkin doesn't contain anything inedible.
If people can remove the candles, make sure there's no painted pumpkins and just no toothpicks in the pumpkins. We generally check them. I tend to cut some up and freeze them so that the pigs can eat them throughout the year.
If you would like your pumpkin to be picked up on November 1st, you can message Carrie Hagel at 250-960-8048.
The pigs love the pumpkins, yes. It's a great way to help support us and feed the pigs.
Sam Benison, CKPG News.
The lowest gas price in Prince George is $1.49.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest gas price in BC right now is in Peachland at $1.48.9 per litre. Manitoba currently has the lowest gas prices in the country on average at $1.25.4 per litre. Meanwhile, British Columbia has an average price of $1.66 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Join the Domino's Lunch Club with 25% off all regular price pizzas every day. Visit dominos.ca to join the club.
The annual PG Bowl between the top local high school football teams is taking place this Friday at Massage Place Stadium. The game is a rematch from last year's PG Bowl between this year's regular season champs, the College Heights Cougars, and last year's zone champions, the Nechako Valley Vikings. While the Vikings won their first bowl in 12 years, defeating the Cougars 26-0, College Heights won both their meetings this season, including a 19-14 victory last Friday. We caught up with local high school head coach Steve Porter for more details.
It's a very interesting contrast between the two teams. So College Heights, they're really skilled. They feature a couple of really good players. Their quarterback, Dylan Pittock, he's the top 4 in passing right now in the province in AA. He's a really strong player. Aiden Smith, he plays on both sides of the ball. Really strong player as a running back and a linebacker. Vanderhoof, they'll bring the physicality. That's their trademark. And they have some good players provincially too. So Dexter Mallow right now, he's the number 4 running back in the province, and they have a linebacker named Ivan Lejbakov, and he's the number 3 in tackles right now. So I mean, overall in the province, these are strong teams. It would be great to see it packed out. If you looked before, like kind of in our heyday, I mean, the stands were actually pretty full. And we collect a little bit at the gates. We collect $2, and that helps cover some field rental and security that we have to have there. And we've had up to 700 or 800 people out at games. So that's pretty decent. I mean, Kodiak's obviously outdraw, but if high school can draw that many people, so I'm hoping this week some people that still have ties to football and want to see some more football this year, be a great chance to come out.
The Spruce Kings annual show home lottery opened last Thursday, and to find out more about it, Jane DeMello caught up with the Kings Executive Director of Business Operations, Kyle Anderson.
The Spruce Kings show home lottery year after year is an integral part of keeping the hockey team running.
If the support from this show home lottery and the community wasn't there would be no Spruce Kings. So it's obviously a huge thing for us, and we get support not only from the community. It is mainly community, but we get support from all over the province that they always want a chance to win a house. It's always a great thing to want to dream about and want to win, and it helps a good cause too with a junior hockey team in town, and trying to let those players live out their dreams of playing at a higher level as they move forward in their careers.
While it helps a great cause, it's also an opportunity to win a dream reward.
Our grand prize draw is an $865,000 value. It's the show home and all the furnishings and appliances included.
The home is located at 2958 Lynx Drive and is a 4-bed, 3-bath with a 2-car garage, and the property is 1,451 square feet. But that's far from the only prize up for grabs.
We like to have little incentives along the way to get some ticket sales. So, there's Mega 50/50 involved in this as well. So you can win some of those tickets with an early bird and some other cool things that we're completely unveiling in the near future.
There are 3 early bird prizes. If you buy a ticket before December 11th, you have a chance to win a Mega 50/50 prize pack worth $2,500. If you buy before February 11th, you can win $2,500 in home renovations. And lastly, if you buy before March 12th, you put your name in the hat for a gift card package worth $3,000. But how exactly do you purchase tickets?
At sprucekingsshowhome.ca, or you can come visit the house Wednesday to Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tickets are $125 each on the house, or we have a package of 3 for $300. And then we also have our Mega 50/50 lottery as well. So those tickets are $25 each, or you can get 5 of those tickets for $100.
Ticket sales are available for purchase until 10 p.m. on April 23rd, and the grand prize winner will be unveiled on April 25th at noon. Jaden DeMello, CKPG News.
Good evening again, everyone, and hopefully you're enjoying a nice, safe Halloween so far. We're looking at a nice dry trend continuing into the rest of the evening. The change for us in the Prince George area will be likely Friday night when we have another system that we're tracking moving in. So here's our satellite. Looking back at the day, we had some sunshine out there. Fantastic weather. We'll continue on with a little bit more of those bright skies to kick off our Friday and November 1st tomorrow, and you can see that on the Futurecast. Nothing really happening, maybe a little to the east of us, but for the most part, it is going to be quite a nice day overall for Friday. And then Friday night, we've got a chance of flurries in the mix for Friday night, Saturday, and a chance of both flurries or even some rain mixed in on Sunday. So there's a combination of a couple of different systems that may be creating some instability around the region. Our highs, though, tomorrow, 5 degrees for us here in Prince George. Sunny skies, I mentioned. Mix of sun and cloud is what we'll call it. East of Valemount as well, similar story. Up in the Peace, it'll be foggy. I should mention we do have fog expected to develop overnight tonight, so the early morning may be a bit foggy out there, but after that dissipates, we've got a great day in store. Different story down through the southern part of the province. They're seeing a system coming up and creating a lot of showers and even some snow along highway mountain passes in the southern interior, so a pretty unsettled Friday and Saturday for them. North Coast looks good, though, 9 degrees in Prince Rupert with sunshine. 4 in Fort St. James, our broadcast region, hovering anywhere from 4 to 6 degrees. That seems to be the trend. 5 in McBride, 6 with a few showers and even some flurries mixed in there for Quesnel early morning. 10 in Vancouver tomorrow. West Coast will be a wet one. Colder in Edmonton and foggy. +1 is what we're looking at with those low-lying clouds. 9 in Regina with sunshine, a mix of sun and cloud and mostly cloudy conditions by afternoon in Winnipeg. And then further east, those temperatures today in Montreal, Toronto, even Halifax were so nice. 24 today in Montreal. Tomorrow, a drop in temperatures and conditions will switch up a little bit, but still hanging on to the double digits in those mid-teen temperature ranges. Clouds and flurries for the weekend. Good way to sum it up as we see temperatures cooling down just a little bit. And again, that precipitation picking up as we move into the next few days. So -5 tonight, Burns Lake, up to 4 tomorrow. A few flurries in the morning, break in the afternoon, and then a cooler trend for Saturday, although quite bright actually through Saturday, Sunday. It'll be early next week that we see a little bit more of the precipitation moving in there. Mackenzie, Saturday, Sunday looks nice. Cloudy skies for the most part, but still sunny breaks on and off throughout both of those days. Tomorrow, though, mainly cloudy and +3 for a high. McBride, -6 and partly cloudy, a little colder tonight. 5 degrees tomorrow. We've got partly sunny skies in there. Snow and rain mixed on Saturday. A little bit of that instability Sunday, but Sunday looks the best of the weekend anyway, and a little bit milder at 5 degrees. -3 in Quesnel tonight, up to 6 tomorrow. Rain and drizzle through the afternoon. A break here and there Saturday. Sunday, another part of that system moving in. Highs of 6 with snow and rain. We're not showing a whole lot of that here on these graphics, although we do have a chance. It is just a chance of flurries for our Friday night and into Saturday, Sunday as well. We may see some of that instability on and off through the weekend. Still a good chance, though, that we'll kick things off with a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Join the Domino's Lunch Club with 25% off all regular price pizzas every day. Visit domino's.ca to join the club.
Ahead of their matchup tomorrow night in Kamloops, the Prince George Cougars have made a trade. General Manager and head coach Mark Lamb announced today that the Cats have acquired defenseman Fraser Leonard from the Calgary Hitmen in exchange for D-man Drew Peterson and a 2025 6th-round pick. Leonard joins the team after playing 59 games for the Hitmen and the Saskatoon Blades, tallying 4 goals and 5 assists as the 18-year-old's expected to make his debut on Friday night. Tonight, CKP3 showcases a clutch shot from a former Toronto Raptor, a beautiful setup on the ice in the City of Angels, and baseball's most iconic matchup coming to a close.
In a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals, the Pacers were in danger of blowing a 19-point lead late in overtime.
Brown switches onto Halliburton. Siakam for the lead. Pacers lead.
Siakam's clutch triple handed the reigning NBA champ Celtics their first loss of the new season. On the other side of the country, the Vegas Golden Knights entered Wednesday's match with the Kings on a 4-game win streak, but LA had them on their heels.
Oh, what a move! Kopitar scores off the beautiful spin move by Clark. Sets up Kopitar for the 4th Kings goal.
Brent Clark's spinorama set up Kopitar for an empty net as they downed the Knights 6-3. The LA Dodgers were in Game 5 of the World Series and needed just 3 strikes to clinch their 8th title.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2 on Verdugo. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
The boys in blue overcame a 5-run deficit to be crowned the 2024 World Series champions to wrap up tonight's CKP3.
Hello from the CKPG Today side. I don't know if I wave with this hand or this hand, but it's Halloween, so we're talking about cookies on the show. We're going to make some up with the Cookie Attic. Tammy comes in to show us how she makes these. Very cool. I made this one. You can see Tammy's got a lot more skill involved. But we got that. We got how I got to be Beetlejuice. I won't say it 3 times because we know when that happens, everything goes out the window. And so much more, including a very mysterious chair that's hiding in the archives of the Exploration Place. Over to you on the other side. Feeling spooky today? I see you got your costume on. News anchor, I bet, hey?
Yeah, I did. I dressed up as news anchor this year, but I had thought about going as a ghost, but then I realized it wouldn't take much effort because my skin is so pale, requires no effort on my part, so I decided to go with news anchor. So to wrap up our show today, here's a look at some Halloween decorations set up around town as trick-or-treaters are heading out to collect as much candy as they can. Take a look.